There are creatures in the old stories that we've half forgotten. Not the sanitized versions in children's books, but the myths that shifted from village to village, changed with every telling, contradicted themselves across counties and centuries. The Bean-Nighe in one highland glen washes shrouds. In the next valley over, she's called something else entirely. The nuckelavee of Orkney breathes plague, but ask in a different island, and the details change. Mythology isn't fixed. It's fluid, regional, contradictory, alive. These weren't metaphors to our ancestors. They were attempts to explain death, disease, and the vast unknown. But the stories evolved, names shifted, details blurred. Soul Trader is a dark fantasy novel built on that tradition, drawing from Celtic, Norse, and North African folklore, but also creating new myths in the same spirit. Some creatures come straight from medieval texts. Others are inventions woven from the same mythological cloth. Today, we're exploring that mythology. We'll descend into ANNWN, both its subterranean depths and its ancient forests. We'll meet a forest spirit who claims descent from Danu, but exists nowhere in traditional lore. We'll encounter a dark queen fused from 3 real death goddesses, and we'll journey beneath the Sahara to meet beings of smokeless fire. No spoilers, no plot, just the mythology, both the folklore that inspired it and the new myths created for this world. Some of these creatures terrified our ancestors for thousands of years. Some were born in the writing of this book. This is where that mythology lives. Before we meet the creatures, we need to understand where many of them dwell. ANNWN, from the Welsh meaning the very deep, or underworld. In Welsh tradition, particularly in the Mabinogion, ANNWN is described as the Otherworld, a realm that exists alongside our mortal world, but separated by invisible boundaries. But the details vary. In some tellings, it's Aran's kingdom of the dead. In others, it's a place of eternal youth and abundance. The stories contradict, the descriptions shift. In Soul Trader's mythology, ANNWN exists in 2 distinct but connected realms. The subterranean depths, vast caverns beneath Britain, underground rivers flowing through darkness, black lakes reflecting no light, passages carved from ancient stone. This is where the darker creatures dwell. And the forests above, silver-barked trees, luminescent plants carpeting the floor, mist weaving between ancient trunks, perpetual dusk that never fully darkens to night. This is where the forest spirits make their home. 2 aspects of the same otherworld, connected by hidden pathways. Time moves differently in both. What feels like hours might be days in London, or the reverse. Unlike the mortal world, ANNWN isn't bound by physics as we understand it. The landscape shifts. Caverns open into forests. Underground rivers surface as woodland streams. The boundary between stone and root blurs. You can enter ANNWN with permission and find sanctuary, but trespass uninvited, you risk becoming lost in its ever-changing passages, wandering between stone and silver bark forever, trapped between the depths and the canopy. That's the setting.
Now let's meet who lives there.
Eirlys Derwen, Eirlys of the Woodland. She does not exist in traditional Celtic mythology. She's a creation for Soul Trader, a forest spirit who claims descent from Danu, the mother goddess of Irish tradition. In Irish mythology, Danu, sometimes called Anu, is the mother of the Tuatha De Danann, the divine race. She is associated with earth, rivers, abundance. But the details are fragmentary. the texts contradict. We don't have a complete picture of who Danu was or what she represented to the ancient Celts. What we do know is this. In Celtic tradition, deities don't sit on thrones above humanity. They're immanent. They exist within the landscape. The goddess is the river. The god is the oak. There is no separation between divinity and nature, no hierarchy imposed on the natural world. Eirlys embodies that principle. When someone enters ANNWN's forest realm expecting a throne room and a queen, this is what they find instead. A circle, a gathering, creatures of all sizes and forms, spectral beings, woodland beasts, small magical entities, tree spirits, all standing in a natural clearing. No throne, no crown, no subjects bowing. Eirlys speaks of this directly in the book. We are not a kingdom, we are a tapestry, each thread distinct, none more vital than another. The wolf-fox beside me is as essential as I am. The trees, the streams, the smallest moss, all part of the whole. This non-hierarchical vision is inspired by Celtic principles, how those cultures viewed the natural world. But Eirlys herself is new mythology, created in that tradition. A forest spirit, not a queen, not a ruler, simply a being who dwells in ANNWN's woodland realm and speaks for its philosophy. Not a kingdom, a home, a tapestry where every thread matters equally. This philosophy shapes everything about the creatures who dwell there. Let's begin with creatures most people have never heard of. Knockers, Cornish mine spirits. In traditional folklore, knockers were helpful creatures who tapped on mine walls to warn miners of cave-ins or led them to rich veins of ore. About 2 feet tall, pallid skin stretched over visible bone, eyes glowing phosphorescent in the darkness, they carried tiny hammers. But neglect them, disrespect the mine, and knockers turn malevolent. In Soul Traders mythology, there are knockers who've been underground so long, so isolated from humanity, they've become something else, something ancient and hostile. Bean-Nighe, the washerwoman. She appears at streams washing blood-stained grave clothes, specifically the burial shrouds of those about to die. If you see her washing your clothes, you're doomed. She has webbed feet, one nostril, a withered appearance. She is death incarnate, doing her laundry. The Bean-Nighe isn't evil, she's a natural force. There's something almost mundane about it, death washing shrouds in a stream, which makes it more unsettling than any monster. Púca, Irish trickster spirit. The Púca is a shapeshifter, most commonly appearing as a black horse, black goat or rabbit. But in every form, the Púca has backward-facing hooves. Always. Unlike malicious spirits, the Púca is morally ambiguous, sometimes helpful, sometimes mischievous, sometimes dangerous. It depends on the Púca's mood. It depends on whether you've shown respect. This moral ambiguity is distinctly Celtic. Not everything is good or evil. Some things simply are. Dullahan, the headless rider. The Dullahan rides a headless horse while carrying his own severed head under his arm. The head's eyes glow, the mouth grins, and in his other hand a whip made from a human spine. When the Dullahan stops riding, someone dies. You cannot bar your door against him. He'll throw a basin of blood in your face. There is no escape. He is death coming to collect. Barghest, Yorkshire death omen, giant spectral dog. The size of a calf, shaggy black fur, eyes that glow like hot coals. It appears before deaths or disasters. The Barghest doesn't kill you, it simply appears on lonely Yorkshire moors in the fog, watching. If you see one, someone you know is going to die, perhaps you. Those are the lesser known creatures. Now we descend into genuine nightmare. Nuckelavee, from Orkney, Scotland. The nuckelavee is described as a skinless horse fused to a skinless humanoid torso. No skin anywhere. Exposed muscles, veins, arteries, all visible, pulsing. And it breathes plague. It literally exhales disease, crop failure, and pestilence. In Orkney folklore, the nuckelavee was blamed for droughts, epidemics, agricultural disasters. The only defense? Fresh water. Seawater was its domain, but crossing a stream would stop it. The slua are the restless dead, specifically the souls of the unforgiven. They fly in flocks from the west like massive dark birds with tattered wings and hooked beaks. They steal the souls of the dying. In Scottish tradition, when someone was dying, windows facing west would be closed to prevent the slua from entering and dragging the soul away before it could pass peacefully. They don't kill you. They wait until you're at your weakest moment, that threshold between life and death, and then they take you. Redcaps, murder goblins. These squat, malicious creatures live in ruined castles along the Scottish-English border. They wear caps dyed in their victims' blood. They have iron-shod boots and superhuman strength. And they need to kill regularly, because if the blood on their cap dries, they die. So they're constantly hunting, constantly murdering, constantly soaking their caps fresh. They're not misunderstood, they're not redeemable. They are murder incarnate. Fomorians, Celtic chaos giants. In Irish mythology, the Fomorians were the primordial beings of chaos and darkness. They had one eye, like Balor, whose gaze could kill armies. They had grotesque, warped bodies. They represented the destructive forces of nature itself. The Tuatha Dé Danann, the Irish gods, fought the Fomorians at the Second Battle of Mag Tuired and won. The Fomorians were cast down, imprisoned, chained beneath the earth. But in Soul Traders mythology, some are still down there, underground, chained by ancient magic, sleeping, warped by millennia in darkness, their bodies covered in fungi and barnacles from underground rivers. And they can be awakened. This is what makes Celtic mythology so compelling. It doesn't have neat divisions between good and evil, order and chaos. The Tuatha Dé Danann aren't heroes, they're simply the ones who won. The Fomorians aren't villains, they're primordial forces. Nature doesn't care about morality. ANNWN is one otherworld, but there are many other worlds in Celtic mythology, and some are much darker. Frenhines Dywyll, Welsh for the Dark Queen. She is a creation fusing three real mythological figures. The Cailleach, Scottish and Irish winter hag, stormbringer, mountain maker, older than time itself. The Morrigan, Irish goddess of war, death, and prophecy. She appears as a raven. She washes the armor of those about to die in battle. Vulva, Norse prophetess and seer, associated with Seidr magic, fate, and dark knowledge. Frenhines Dywyll embodies all three: the hag form of the Cailleach, the raven features of the Morrigan, the prophetic veil of the vulva. She rules a parallel otherworld, underground, lightless, where horror creatures gather. Her throne is woven from skulls. Celtic chieftains, Norse jarls, Anglo-Saxon kings, all bound together with thorny vines. If Frenhines Dywyll represents something essential. Not all nature is nurturing. Not all earth goddesses are motherly. The earth also swallows. Winter also kills. Storms also destroy. She's at war with Eirlys' realm, has been for centuries. Light and dark otherworlds locked in eternal conflict. Her army? Every nightmare creature we've discussed. Redcaps dip their caps in gore-filled bowls. Barghests prowl the cavern edges with flame-lit eyes. The nuckelavee lurks in black lakes exhaling plague. Dullahan riders circle on headless steeds. Slua flock overhead, waiting to steal souls. It's a court of horrors. And she rules not through dominion, she's still Celtic in that way, but through shared darkness. They gather to her because they are like her, creatures of death, decay, winter, and the void. Two otherworlds, two philosophies, one without a throne, one built on skulls.
The Vikings invaded Britain for centuries. Norse and Celtic cultures mixed, traded, fought, and shared stories. So in Soul Traders' mythology, Norse creatures have taken root in British soil. Draugr, Norse undead, these are warriors risen from their burial mounds. Rotting flesh in rusted chainmail, eyes glowing with grave light. They guard their barrows jealously and drag intruders to hell's cold halls. Unlike mindless zombies, Draugr are intelligent, malicious, and nearly impossible to kill permanently. They can grow to enormous size, shapeshift, and haunt dreams. Nidhogg worms, inspired by Nidhogg, the dragon who gnaws at the roots of Yggdrasil, the world tree. In Norse mythology, Nidhogg eternally chews the roots of the cosmic tree in Niflheim. In Soul Trader, there are Nidhogg-style worms, serpentine dragons coiled in underground rivers, gnawing at the roots of the world, their breath poisoning the waters. Not direct transplants, mutations, evolutions, creatures that seeped in during the Viking Age and adapted to British undergrounds. Tuatha De Danann, the Irish gods themselves, the people of the goddess Danu. When the Milesians, mortal Celts, conquered Ireland, the Tuatha De Danann retreated into the Otherworld, becoming the Aesshi, the fairy folk. But they're not cute fairies, they're gods, powerful, dangerous, and very much present in Soul Traders' mythology.
But Celtic and Norse aren't the only mythologies in Soul Trader. There's an entire storyline set beneath the Sahara Desert, drawing from North African and Arabian folklore. Djinn. Not genies, not the Disney version. In Islamic and pre-Islamic Arabian mythology, Djinn are beings created from smokeless fire. They're intelligent, powerful, and morally complex, some righteous, some evil, most somewhere in between. Qasim al-Ghaib, the divider of the unseen, is a Djinn of immense power. His lower body swirls with sand particles, transitioning to solid form. He sits on a throne carved from compressed desert dunes in a chamber beneath the Sahara. Djinn aren't wish granters serving humans. They're equals, sometimes allies, sometimes enemies, always dangerous. Ghoul, Arabian demon, origin of the English word ghoul. Ghouls are shapeshifters that inhabit graveyards and deserts. They appear as beautiful women to lure travelers, then reveal their true form: iron teeth, backward feet, corpse eaters. In Arabian folklore, ghouls are specifically female demons associated with deception and death. They are not mindless undead. They are intelligent predators using illusion as a weapon. Ifrit, fire Djinn, beings of flame. True Ifrit in Arabian mythology are spirits of fire, some massive and powerful, some tiny like embers. In Soul Trader, Ifrit manifest as swarms of miniature fire spirits, like sentient sparks that can ignite doubt, fear, or illusions directly in your mind. They feed on panic. They grow brighter with fear. They create visions of death and suffocation. Marid, water Djinn, the most powerful type. Marid are associated with seas, rivers, underground waters. In Arabian mythology, they're the strongest of the Djinn, rebellious, proud, difficult to control even by Solomon himself. In Soul Trader's Saharan setting, the Marid manifests as churning sand and water combined, underground floods in desert chambers, a terrifying fusion of elements that drowns you in desert. Arabian mythology appears in Soul Trader because folklore traveled. The Sahara and the Mediterranean were connected by trade routes for millennia. Stories moved with merchants, pilgrims, travelers. And thematically, the Djinn's realm mirrors the Celtic Otherworlds, another parallel dimension where human rules don't apply, where ancient powers dwell, where mythology is alive.